Are collector boxes really selling right now? Is the market as hot as we're hearing? Well, in today's video, we're going to take a look at a couple of collector boxes, and we're going to take a look at the singles inside to see if there's any real value fueling these sales. If somebody had told me a year ago that collector boxes were going to blow up the way they have, I never would have believed it, let alone the price increases that we have seen. But I've been proven wrong enough times that I had to take a look at these products for myself, see which ones are selling and which ones are not, and then we can all talk about it together. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks for hanging on the channel today. Now, what are we talking about? Well, collector boxes have really been surging in price, and the sales have been going through the roof on many of these products. But that doesn't mean these products are actually worth the money people are spending. That doesn't mean the cards inside each of these product lines are worth anything, because things get reprinted, cards fall out of favor, there's bannings, there's also just the fact that the cards were never good to begin with, and they're kind of just never carried forward. This is where we are in this market. But the sales of sealed product, how well are these products moving? Can I go up here on my shelf, take a few products down as I make a mess here, and say, is this stuff moving? Are we selling these things? Are these moving as much as people say? Are we still selling crazy stuff like Modern Horizons 2? Or is this stuff moving in the market? Is this stuff we have to talk about? And who's buying it? Why are they buying it? It's great questions, great answers to be followed up on. I was surprised when I took a look at all these products to see which ones were selling, which ones weren't, and how many they were actually selling. Now, I've covered some individual collector boxes for you here on the channel. I've done this before. I'm going to do it again because I like to follow the market to see where people are going. But I was surprised by the amount of sales we've seen in the last 12 to 18 months. Crazy stuff with Bloomberg going forward, and even some of the newer boxes have really blown things out of the water, and that really does start, by the way, with Tarkir Dragonstorm. That's when things went to the next level. Okay, this has continued forward to present day, where the sales are just at the next level, which means when we look at an older product, there's a lot more going on with those products. It's at a different era in time. The cards may not be as flashy or as utilized by the power creep we've seen in the current sets. Now, I understand from a lot of players' perspective, they could argue to me that these older sets have amazing cards, they're great, they're fun to play with. And that means absolutely nothing when you are looking at a player out there who wants a winning deck, a winning combination. I'm not talking about just the playability and viability of the cards. People will collect because they like sealed boxes. These are easy to store on your shelf. They're nice to have up there. They're great conversation pieces. There are individual cards inside, making them super valuable, and the market can't wait to reprint them. And in some cases, we hope they don't, so they retain some more value. There's a lot of reasons why people buy these boxes. There's a lot of individual boxes with great nostalgic appeal, like Dungeons and Dragons, amazing sets. And I did take a look at these. So I want to share the first one with you because I heard everyone talking about Commander Legends, okay? I think I have a box up here to share with you guys. I look at that set, and of course we all tie it to Jeweled Lotus, right? Remember Hull Breacher at the time? There were some crazy cards on there that really got people's attention. But how well are the cards doing now? Where are these sales coming from? And how high are the sales really? Now, first off, let's take a look at the first one here. This is Commander Legends collector box, $7.99, but this is Canadian pricing. So if you're in the US right now watching my channel, they have about 40 boxes available in total. And when you look at the boxes here, you can see they're $7.99.95 Canadian. You'd have to take away about 45% of that price to get the US pricing. Okay, that's what's going to cost you to get it. And that's regional pricing because, you know, they probably won't ship to the States, but that's what it's going to cost. So you're talking around what, $500? That's not that bad, right? And that's what I've seen on TCG Player. There were a couple of upending sales because there was low inventory in many areas of the world, which means any sales can manipulate the market and make it look a lot better than it really is. That does spike a lot of interest, though, from players saying, is this guy going up right now? Do I need to know about this? Is this? And this is something we saw with the Kaladesh booster boxes, right? When Kaladesh came out, there was a lot of interest. The boxes spiked up. I had commented that you shouldn't buy them, and I wasn't going to sell any of the boxes I had because somebody would regret it later. And of course, those boxes fell down. And we had the same thing kind of trickling into Aether Revolt, and that's calmed down. So where are these boxes going? What cards do we have inside really does matter when you're looking at the longevity value because Wizards of the Coast did do like a reprint unto death to many of these sealed boxes, which is why the value inside never really equated after a while. Now, when we look at these boxes here right now, this is Commander Legends. You can see Vampire Tutor, Jeweled Lotus, banned currently. You've got things like Mana Drain, Commander Plate. Again, there's different versions of the cards inside. These are holding $30, $40, $50 price tags, which is pretty good. Jessica's Will. There's not bad value. There's good cards in here that are still holding up well. But we all know inside these collector boxes, you got one or two of these. So if you're spending $700, $800 on a box in Canada, and you're getting $100 to $200 of value in the cards inside, and again, if I jumped over and showed you guys the rares, you would see the same type of deal, okay? You are not going to get the value you think you're going to get from looking at this stuff. It is there, you can see it, but there's just not a lot. I just go, oh, there's like $30, $40 cards here. There's 10, 10, 20, 30. Okay, so even if you get some decent rares, we're talking about half the box value, okay? Because we can't really count on the Jeweled Lotus being a $150 card, so you lose a lot of potential value in buying it sealed, unless you just want to display it or hold it for a long-term speculation on the price. So really, the market for this right now does not justify where this product is going. When I look at this right now and look at the singles inside, I would tell you, unless you're buying this just to hold on to make it look pretty on a wall, you shouldn't be buying a sealed box. You can go after the singles, get any cards you want for a fraction of the price of buying it. Just because it's rare doesn't mean it's really that collectible. You have to take a look at that. Now, I'm not saying it's not collectible to some people. I'm not saying others don't desire it because, hey, I've got one up on my wall right now. I have one here. But at the same time, look at that future value in the long-term game of products like this. That gain is an unrealized gain that you are fantasizing about. You're not actually realizing it yet because you haven't cashed in. And remember, if you buy that box for $800, you'd have to cash in at what, $1,200, $1,500, $1,600? Because you got fees, taxes, you got stuff, you got shipping costs that are going to drain away a lot of that secondary market value you're hoping to cash in on. This is not the newer products. These are older products. They had good cards inside at the time, but with the reprints we've seen, it's really drained a lot of the value out of that market, and we need a much longer time frame for these values to regain and reinflate, and we're not really sure that's going to happen. Wizards of the Coast has a funny way of doing their reprints right now that nothing's off the table. Now, I want to do another box here. I want to share something else with you because this is one that's really close to home for me. This is Adventures in Forgotten Realms. You can see here, it's $349.95 if you were buying it locally. And of course, it's sold out. It's been out of print for a while. But this store, 401 Games, they had them on sale for like $189 at one point. Okay? And I remember paying like $2.99 a box. So you could get a real discounted savings. And that's when they moved a lot of this product. Now, that's a Canadian price, don't forget. So if we look over here in the US, you can see boxes have been selling surprisingly well for this type of product. And we have an increase in sales overall, which was surprising compared to things like the Commander Legends box or other boxes I checked up on like Duskmorn. They didn't have a lot of sales inconsistency, which we see for Adventures in Forgotten Realms. There's an interest right now, and it's the nostalgic appeal. So are there value cards inside? Have things spiked to the point where we need to talk about it? Well, not really. If you guys look here, you can see here, Old Gnawbone is $68, and that's the borderless edition of it. We have Old Gnawbone for $51. Then we got Tiamat, which spiked up big, I admit, and that's because of Tarkir Dragonstorm. And I know a lot of people on my channel were happy that I shipped those out for $5 each. I'm glad you guys got some, but I look at this and I say, there's a lot here that's not of a massive amount of value. Okay, the Wild Mage and stuff, the rares inside this set, they're not really going to generate the value you think they would, and it's not equating to a lot of secondary market value. It really drops off to $3 and $4 cards, okay? When you start looking at the boxes taper off in value, when the cards go from $10 to $5 to $4, when they go to 3 or 2 or 1, when you see the value drop off just incrementally so quickly, you probably are a best bet to buy the singles market. Now, we have seen things like this happen in the past in Magic, which we can bring forward to give ourselves a better idea of what's going to happen inside of some of these markets. If I could take you guys back for a moment to 2021. This is the first time we had massive buyouts for the reserve list. This is newer in my YouTube channel life, and we saw this happen firsthand. Now, We saw Power 9 cards, Black Lotus, Moxen, just go through the roof. We saw cards like Bazaar Baghdad reach $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. Shazam Djinns at $8,000, $9,000. Where are those cards today? When we go again and look at the dual lands, now reaching all-time highs again. When we see a whole bunch of low-tier reserveless cards that were janky and fun, but have no justified playability in most competitive formats, go through the roof, only to see those cards collapse in value within a 2-year period. Right back to where they started. Understand that somewhere in there, somebody made a lot of money, somebody was left holding the bag. A lot of money was made, somebody was left holding the bag. A winner and a loser in every market space. And that includes Magic the Gathering. Ask yourself why you want a box. Ask yourself what's going to happen to it. Because if we go back to that reserve list and you see where the sales collapsed, and you take that to the market we're in right now, I love the cards we have right now. I love the new sets. This has been a banner year for Wizards of the Coast. They've done an excellent job with the products. But what they've done is they have made the newer collector boxes a lot more exclusive and hard to get your hands on. They lowered the print runs. They've given us great variants. They've given us cards to chase. It's an epic time. It starts with Tarkir of Dragonstorm, and it carries through to every product right now to date. You can go back to Bloomborough when it really did kind of start off. They sold it really quickly. But we also have everything before Bloomborough still sitting there available. So as these new products sell out, as things like Lord of the Rings just carry through the roof, and as we've got things like Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, Avatar, when you look at Edge of Eternities, when we jump over to Tarkir Dragonstorm, when those products get to the $500, $600 level, just like we saw with those reserveless cards that reached new heights, the money is trickling down like a waterfall into the lower end reserveless product, but in this case, a lower end collector box product. This is where FOMO and excitement can get the better of people. It got the better of me. It's gotten the better of a lot of my friends. So when I look at this kind of market space, I'm not saying they're worthless. Of course they're not. There are collectors and hobbyists and enthusiasts for all of these products. But you shouldn't have to overpay. And you shouldn't buy into an inflated market if it doesn't warrant it. Ask yourself why you want a box. I ask myself that all the time. What do I hope to do with it? Why do I want to get it? You'll figure that out for yourself. But with knowledge, a little bit of patience, a little bit of time to see what's inside those products, you'll probably make a more informed decision. And just remind yourself, this is a hobby. If I'm spending on this product and it goes to zero, am I cool with that? And that's where players will find themselves at some point deciding. But there always will be a winner and there will be a loser in these markets. If the products collapse, if something goes wrong, somebody's got to get left holding the bag. And somebody made a lot of money. That's just the way the game is played. And that's in any market space out there. Can't always be winners across the board. As much as we'd like there to be, life's not fair. Now, going forward with these collector boxes, though, there's a lot of sales going on, a lot of juiciness out there. And although this market is exciting and just vibrant right now, I still find that this is carrying forward for the newer products. The way they are presenting them, the way they are printing them at lower numbers, and the price point is making them harder to get. Well, that just means that there's less out there. It keeps a higher price. And these are all new products that haven't had tons of reprints done to them yet. We don't have a lot of these cards entering the market space saying, oh, well, when can I get a reprint of that? Well, you're not going to for a couple of years. Which means as these markets adjust for these new cards, we're going to see prices start going up on individual singles. Where many of these other products, including all these older collector boxes, they've been sitting around for a long time. And the cards that are worth value have probably been reprinted by now. There'll be a few that haven't, but there's many that have. And that means those boxes haven't really inflated higher in price. So something to keep in mind. I know for myself, looking at any older box that I want to get, why do I want it is the first question. What do I hope to accomplish by getting it? Sometimes it's just a collector. You want to have something, right? And I'm totally cool with that. I'm sure you guys are too. You guys let me know how you feel about these collector boxes, old ones. We know how the new ones are doing. Let me know what old boxes you like. What are you looking at? And have you thought about buying any of them? Because a lot of people are buying right now. And it's very interesting to see this market unfold. I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you had a good time here hanging out with me on the channel as much as I had just chilling with you guys. It was nice. All right. We'll see you guys for the top 10 tomorrow. The hottest selling cards on the modern market. And of course, Sunday I have my reserve list top 10. Hope you guys can stop by and check out those videos. I look forward to seeing you guys each and every day. Have a great one, everyone. Hey, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of my channel. Without those patrons, daily uploaded content, well, hey, it just wouldn't be happening. So if you're a patron, a YouTube membership member supporting the Moxman, thanks again for being there each and every day. And of course, we're at the end of the video. This is where it all ends and there's nothing else after. You don't need to go any further. You can just go on with your day, have a good time. There is no reason to keep watching this video, guys. Come on, you can just go. I want you guys to remember something. Welcome back to the ramble and the jamble. Now, my milk spoiled and I didn't notice. It's okay. We don't edit these. It is what it is. Let's continue. I look back to things like Troll Champion. I look back to Brain Geyser. Brain Geyser was $75. I bought some for the channel, what, 8 months ago? I bought, what, 20? At $8 a piece? Lightly played? Prices shift when the market can't sustain the inflated price of the card. There's not being played enough to warrant it. I look at a collector box. And there's lots of great ones. Hey, D&D. Lots of sales recently. Okay? But I want you guys, and I hope people take this seriously, man. So many people don't. But we've lived this before. If this box goes to $400 or $500, and you can say it's being dragged up by all the other collector boxes. The other collector boxes do have power creep. They do have better variants of cards. And this, although it's fun, and I love Dungeons & Dragons, it's underpowered. What, Old Gnawbone? Maybe in here? Maybe, maybe not. This box probably should be $250. And it probably should not go higher. Okay? It just shouldn't. Doesn't mean it's not going to. But somebody has to be caught holding these. How many were printed? This is like when they were printing through the roof. This is what, 2021. This is 4 years ago. Okay? When you look at this stuff, and even when you go back to things like Dominaria United with those collector boxes, remember? Lost Legends, one in each case type deal. That's why people were buying cases, hoping to find some crazy cards like a Tabernacle. There was gimmicks, there was scheme, there's great stuff. But it just doesn't have what these new sets have. They're just better. The formula is better. The recipe for the new sets is better. And I'm 100% sure of it. They're just great. In my mind, they're awesome. Or I wouldn't have bought any. These boxes I bought because I wanted to own them. And yes, I thought the cards would be a little bit better over time, and they haven't panned out. That doesn't mean, like we're seeing with the ally mechanic, that the party mechanic can't come around. Maybe I should pay attention to individual cards. Of course, Tiamat and stuff made a big comeback. We know some people made a killing on that card when they were buying them. When I told people, buy it for $5. Remember, I sold a whole bunch to you guys for $5 each. It was crazy. But not everyone does that. Not everyone thinks about that. They buy a box, hopefully because they want a box. Not because they want to flip it. Because trust me, that market is not what people think. It doesn't mean you can't make money. It means it's very difficult to make money, let alone a living doing that. And you're risking a lot of capital to get in on it. So it's definitely not for everybody, okay? As simple as it looks, the idea of overpaying for this stuff, just, you guys know it makes me cringe. We got to do better than that. We got to protect you guys, protect myself from that kind of market that we've been in before. We've done this dance. We know what happens. Hopefully people will, watch this video, but we'll see. Guys, have a great one.